Today's Rambam, Hilchas Gerushin, Perokim, Halacha Tes. We're gonna deal with a interesting shlichus that exists in Gittin and also in general, a specific halacha of a woman using a shliach, which, by the way, today in most Gittin is done through shlichus, but we're going to talk about a specific type of shlichus. So the Rambam says as follows: Ha'isha sha'osos shliach be'edim, a woman that made a shliach using witnesses that observed her making the shliach, which is an issue on its own, not for now. The Amra Lai, she said to him, Tul li giti, go get my get. Hey, biyadcha, it should be in your hand. Arei zeh shliach kabbalah. This language that she used makes him a shliach kabbalah, which means he's accepting the get, as we'll see in a second. Okay, it's the same concept as if she would have said, go accept the get on my behalf. Now Rambam ends up with a phrase. It says, V'yesh li'isha lase shliach kabbalah lekabbalah gita miyad shluchei shel bayit. Now, this is the next step. Not only could she send the shliach to get it from the husband, she can send the shliach to get it from the husband's shliach. What's the chiddush in that? So that chiddush is based on a sugya in Gittin. It's not pashut, it's machlekes. Rav says you can't do it. She can't send the shliach to get from a shliach of the Baal. And Chanina says she can. So the Gemara asks the question, what's the svara of Rav? Gemara offers two possibilities. We're going to focus on one of those possibilities, because that's the one that's dominant, and that's the one that's used in all the Perokim and everything. And that is, we should be zoya in the Baal. The Baal, so Rashi says, the embarrassment of the Baal. What does that mean? Rashi says, Kesavur, he thinks, Kaloisi be'eineha, and become cheap in her eyes. She'ina mekablu say ba'atzma. She doesn't receive it on her own. Iluki of the lekabel miyad Baal. Had she made a shliach to go to the Baal, that's no shaila. Why? There's nothing to be worried about that he maybe thinks she's that it's a bizarre. Why? Because he's giving it. Even the yad of a lekabel. He knew and he didn't mind. So in other words, since we're going to paraphrase, since when he gives it to a shliach, obviously he had no knowledge that she's sending a shliach. So we say could be makbid, and it's not a get. The Rashba says clearly, based on this Gemara, that there's no question that if we know for sure that he is not happy with the fact that she sent a shliach, in other words, we know him, or after she takes the get, he hits the roof, chutzpah, he screams, I'm divorcing her, and she doesn't have respect for me. Okay? For sure. So that definitely is a process, is no good. Or forget, there's a shaila. When we know for sure he doesn't care, we're not to talk about it, he doesn't care. So why is Kapeda the Baal a problem altogether? Is it because his stand is no get? You can't give a get when he doesn't like it? So there's two opinions. Is it Xera? Because we're worried that he's going to say bad things about her because he's angry, and he's going to hurt her kids and so forth. Okay. But we know he's not makpid, it's good. As I say, there's a kavitz of Rishonim called Kavitz Shittas Kamoy that brings one of the Rishonim that explains the Rambam. And it says that when the Rambam writes, Yesh Ish Alas Shliach Kabbalah Kabbalah Gitam Yad Shalom Shabbat, how do you maybe he's makpid? No. This is talking specifically when he know for sure he's not makpid. And he brings an interesting Yerushalmi, and he learns that that's what the Yerushalmi is saying, that we know that he's not makpid, and however others learn different shot in the Yerushalmi, so it's not poshut what the Yerushalmi means. And the Maraponim there wants to suggest there's a machlekes. But he ends up saying that when we know he's makpid, nobody doubts. And he said like this: the machlekes in the Bavli Shalmi is, what do we do mistama? No, we don't know. But Shalmi assumes mistama like it. Mistama is not makpid. However, Bavli, you need to know that he's not makpid. Then he would say maybe Shalmi agrees. And then he goes on again to say that according to the Rambam, again, this you say, that if you know that he's makpid, finished. She can't make a shliach. Okay. Rajma says that you should be ma'acheshish l'chumra. The Ran says you cheshish l'chumra. Sorry. The Rajma says you always assume he's makpid. Basically, they're very machmans. Okay, I want to note a few issues that we need to understand. In general, when the Gemara asks my timer of one Amira, and he gives a reason, Gemara usually goes back and asks what's the time of the other Amira. So Gemara has my time of the Rab. And Gemara gives two reasons. Why does the Gemara follow up? And what's the reason for Hanina? So if you tell me what the reason was a Gzeira, okay. Not chayish. But if you say the Baal, unless you say it's also Gzeira, Yetzilas, but if you learn that it's according to the way most people learn, that the fact that the Baal is makpid, that's mevatel the get, it makes the get his get. So the Gemara should explain what does he hold? Now, despite, and again, everybody's understanding of the Rambam. The fact that the Rabbi makes a blanket statement, without any conditions, without any stipulations, to me it sounds like it doesn't matter if the Baal is makpid or not. The Rambam doesn't care, couldn't kill us. Oh, why? Okay. So let me just introduce the following halacha with a certain concept. I know that's what we're going to talk about. Instead of reading the halacha, which is very involved, also halacha yidaleh, there's generally a concept of a shliach lahalacha, which the Baal makes. I am sending you to do so and so, or let's say in the case of again, the Baal is sending to give a get, which generally is understood that he empowers the shliach to be the megaresh. And then there's a shliach l'kabbalah, where he doesn't empower, he doesn't do anything. He gives the woman empowers the man, the shliach, to be the mekabel. The Rambam in Hilchis Gerushin introduces a concept called a shliach lahavoah, a shliach to go bring a get. Go bring a get. Which means, at the moment that of his receiving the get, she's still married to the guy. He doesn't get divorced until the Shliach fulfills the Shlichus and brings the get back to her. So Shliach lahavvo'o. I saw that Rav Soloveitchik asks over there in Gittin that you don't find this Shliach Lavo anywhere in Rashi. And then he assumes that it doesn't exist. He says it's a Chiddush of the Rambam. And he asks some very big question. It's really a strong question. A get needs an act of nesina. Got to give a get to the woman. Who is the giver and who is the receiver? Now let's think. The Baal is usually the giver, right? It has to be the giver. He's not giving it to the woman. He's giving it to a Shliach who's bringing it to the woman. What status does this Shliach have? Right? Now, you're going to tell me, when the get, when the Shliach gives it to the woman. Who is the Shliach? Who empowered him to be the nice get? Who empowered him to be the giver of the get? So there is where is the act of Krisus? Which is done through Nesina Saget from the Baal to the Isha. Where is that? It's not when the Baal gives to the Shliach, because he's only Shliach Lavo. It's not when the Shliach gives to the Isha, because he's not a Shliach Laloch, he's not the Baal's the Shliach. So what's going on there? It's a real serious question. Okay. The Rambam further in Halacha Chafei in Perlstein says the following halacha. There's another Chiddush Dikid. Somebody sends a get to his wife with a Shliach Halacha. Shliach empowered to go give the get. Goes, looks, can't find it. She's in Hawaii. Or he wants to give her the get, and she says, slams the door in his face, and says, "Nope, I don't want it. Goodbye." Or she runs away, and he can't give her the get. Comes back, and he tells the Baal, assuming the Baal will be upset, and instead the Baal says, Baruch Atei v'Ameit. How good is God Almighty that He saved me? Something to that effect. And Rashi and the Rambam continues, or any other expression that indicates he has no interest in giving the get, and he's happy that the get did not end up giving it. Rambam says, "Le botla get." Let's give the scenario, and then suddenly the Shliach holds on to the get, walks around, and he sees her in the street. He runs over to her, hands her the get. She's Megreshus. Unless he said the favors, you're a Shliach. Or you're bottled from being a Shliach, the get is bottled. He cast me levak. Okay, this is based on a Gemara in Gittin. And the question is, why? It's a good question. Well, what's going on? What is this all about? And the Mefarshim asks, the guy doesn't want to give a get. How can you give a get Malkarche? How can you even get against his will? He said clearly, Baruch Atei v'Ameit. I mean, thank God. You didn't find her. What does that mean? Those who say it doesn't mean exactly he's happy. He wants a different time. The Pashtus, that's not shot. Another halacha is even more complicated. Earlier, Perek Beis halacha tesvot, Guy says when he was healthy, right again, give it to my wife. Enough with her. And then he went crazy. We're not assuming he was crazy when he wrote it. No. He was bari, he was healthy by all medical standards, not necessarily by proper standards, by ultimate standards, but definitely in his medical standards, he's considered sane, and then he became insane. So he never wrote the get. He just said, right, all right, wait till he gets better. Once he gets better, we write the get and we bring it. And we don't ask him if he had a change of heart. Now listen to this. That's one change. He had a change of heart. He should have told us. What happens when he was crazy? They wrote it while he was insane, which at this point he cannot give a get or he cannot write again. They wrote it and they decided, they went and gave it. And I tell you, the get is kosher. The Rabbanan, they made it possible. That's the Rambam's halacha. The Nasi Kalim, the ones who explain the Rambam, ask, how could the get be chal? He's a shliach of an insane person, and an act of an insane person is not valid. How can this be? Okay. Let's analyze a few little bits. Earlier, again, last parak, hey Halacha, Rambam writes, and this that it says in the Torah, you have to give it in her hand. Doesn't mean literally in her hand. It's her hand, her hips, her purse, her courtyard, or her shliach. And then he adds in shliach. Now, not the cheka, not the chatzeira, but in shlucha he adds she'asos yodai ki yodai, yada, that made his hand like her hand. And all that, it's all called menasam biyada. What's he suddenly teaching us hilchos shlichus? This is where he's teaching with 2 lines. When the Baal sends a shliach, he writes about Baal sending a shliach. And what is this? Suddenly osus yoda ki yoda. You know, what's this new line? And earlier in Perek Aleph, when he says that there are 10 things that a get needs, so he writes that the Baal should give it, but he writes an interesting thing. Baal or shluchai. Again, why shlichus dear? Shlichus doesn't belong here. That's an extension of the din of Baal. There's a din of shlichus. Okay. So perhaps a Gittin has a problem. The Torah writes v'nasam biyada. So let's step back a little. The Ktseis in Siman Kuf Peches brings the machlekes in the shtate. The machlekes in the shtate. If he became crazy and they gave the get. Ask a question on the Rambam. A guy who's a shaita can't give a get. If somebody says, give this get to his wife, and he drops dead, they can't give it after he died. He says, why not? If the Rambam holds that once you made a shliach, boom, it's in the hands of the shliach, you're gone. You're gone, who cares? What does it mean, a shaitan, a dead man? In halacha of giving a get. We know the difference between them, but what's the difference in halacha giving a get? So, the general answer is very simple. A shait is only a chesarn in giving a get, but he's still a husband. So you, as the shliach, can still do a get. A dead person is not a husband anymore. So there's no get. You can't be megarish or not a non-husband. It's a nice art, but it's not for now to get into the details, but that's the say. So the application on the Ktseis, explaining the machlekes of the Rambam and the Tur regarding the Shtata, so he wants to say that the machlekes is as follows. What is shluchei shel adam k'maisa? Does the mishaleach give over his koyach to the shliach, or do we say that the shliach is as if the mishaleach did? So he says the following: that a Rambam and the Tur are arguing that the Rambam holds the shliach gives over his koyach to the shliach. So if you give a shayt, who cares? It's over. It's in the hands of the shliach. And the Tur holds no, that the mishaleach doing it. The shliach is only the hands of the mishaleach. So therefore, the shtat, it doesn't work. Perhaps we can say that the Rambam, when he stresses shlucha she'osas yodoi ki yodo, right? And we asked, what is the intent of this word shlucha she'osas yodoi ki yodo? What does it mean? Why does he say that? And also when he writes she'abal oy shlucha, could be that the Rambam is coming to stress that how is a shliach called v'nosem b'yodo? Exactly that question. Even you can't just say he's empowered, but it's not yodo. So the Rambam says yes, shlichus obviously in the case of a get for sure you mekayim yodo mamish. And the same thing when the shliach because the shliach is yodoi. It can't be the regular shlichus. Now it could be a chiddush in gittin, or that's the uptight shlichus that it's mamish yodoi. So could be that's the yesod of a shliach lahava. A shliach lahava is her hand getting the get. Why is she megarashes? Because it's like a t'nai. Like if somebody gives a get and says you're megarashes when you reach this and this place, it's a t'nai in the get. But the get is a get. The nesina is a nesina. It's yadoi ki yadah. The shliach is her hand. But there's a din, and the get is not going to be chal till it reaches the hand of the woman. That's a t'nai in the get. It's like a condition I made, and I have to wait till it gets there. And that's why it doesn't help Gilui Das when the Baal makes a shliach. Because at this point, he has given over his hand, the shliach is now the noisin. That's even nosan b'yoda, he's a noisin. He gave over the koyach Gerushin to the shliach. As long as there's no bittul, you can go on and be megarish. You are the shliach is the megarish now. He has the hand to be megarish, being empowered to be megarish. And that's why a woman can make a shliach in Kabbalah and doesn't care what the Baal's mark is. Who cares? He gave it to a shliach. It's in the hand of the shliach. The Baal's paid is no different than when he says Baruch Atei B'Meitu. And we can even know that he's copied. He wasn't mevatel the shliach can go on. And that's why we don't, Gemara doesn't ask my time at the Rabbi Chanina. Why doesn't ask him? Even though the Chashash is out, because it's not a gay. The Chiddush is that we worry, that he's worried about it. But here you made a shliach, yada ki yada, who a shlucha is v'nosan b'yada, that's called v'nosan, he is the noisein, you're given over, you're done. I Misa. Again, this is Rambam. I Misa. That's because there's no Baal. But Mitzad and Nesinas again. The Nesina lies in the hands of the Shliach, and without Bitla Shlichus, Shliach goes on. Ulai, that will be Pshat in the Rambam, and that will be Pshat in the Gemara, according to the Rambam. Like is it stark, Hatzlocha Rabba, Muflaga.